Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Carling Currie Cup. This one, the GRIQUAS at home, taking on a side in the Sharks that have not got themselves a victory yet for this Currie Cup season. Now, they actually won the whole thing last year. It has been a very different looking Sharks side. As you can see by the table, it hasn't been the nicest to them, although they were able to get themselves 1 point from their last fixture. The Western Province, they are sitting with their points differential of minus 76, and they are yet to get themselves a point in this competition. The minus 107 for the Sharks, but close game last week up against the Cheetahs. Honestly, one that they could have gone on to win, just not quite able to get the job done in a low-scoring 7-5 fixture away from home. For the max temperature of this match, though, it is going to be 23 degrees Celsius, 27 kilometres of wind, so a bit of a breezy one for the home game of the GRIQUAS, but we are not too far away from the start of this match. The GRIQUAS, a pretty common number, is that mid-40s when it comes to how many points they've been able to score throughout this Currie Cup competition, and I believe actually they got 49 in their opening game up against the Pumas, or at least somewhere near that, so pretty common for this GRIQUAS side. At the moment, for the Sharks, they are a mixed bag, although they haven't been scoring a huge amount of points throughout this competition. I've just fact-checked myself. It was 49 that they conceded. They actually only got themselves 28 in their opening match of the comp. But looking through at the starting lineup will be Eddie Davids alongside Janko Ice and Glamini as the front row of the GRIQUAS. Mpofu alongside Laban Burke as the locking duo with Carlels, Carol van der Merwe and also Ulunk slotting in. As the number 8, Caleb Abrahams will partner with George Whitehead once again. Now, last week for Whitehead, his kicking was so much better than the week prior. So I do think it was just an off game in round 2 of the Currie Cup. Gershon Weir will be out on the left wing as William Daba in the midfield alongside Zane Besta, who's been solid throughout the start of the comp. Dylan Mark, and then it will be Hofka as the number 15 in the starting lineup for the Sharks here. Once again, missing a lot of the big names that we are used to seeing for the Sharks team. Gunyani as the number 1, Calvert at 2, and Mazibuko slots in at 3. Cochlenberg alongside Slabert as the locking duo with Matt Ramal, who was actually really strong last game for the Sharks side. Kakane gets the chance at 7. I know a lot of people are looking forward to seeing that man and the physicality that he brings after his Springbok alignment camp. And then from there, Nick Hatton will be the number 8. Everson gets the start at 9 alongside Vusi Moyo, who did start that last contest up against the Cheetahs. Out on the left wing, it will be Ikaji, Putgater in the midfield alongside Diego Apollos, and then Christy Robala out on the right from the 7 setup, Yako Williams. He will be there at number 15. But in the comments, we have got, hi everyone, there's quite a big name tomorrow. Or there's quite a big game tomorrow, sorry, I heard. Says Bruce, Springboks is some team called Wannabes or something, says Bruce. It started with the respect from the get-go, it would seem, from the man himself. We have got there hoping it will be the Sharks that win, but we all know it will be the GRIQUAS, says Chance there, and also GRIQUAS by 13 plus, maybe more. Yeah, see, it's a tricky one for the Sharks because I looked at the odds and they come in as $11 underdogs for this contest, which is huge. Like, that's the type of odds that you get for a side that are in terrible form, and some would argue that the Sharks are. But they also are a good enough team that maybe, just maybe, they can somehow get a victory here. Perhaps we'll have to try and motivate them that little bit more. We'll do some sort of maybe forfeit if the Sharks get the win. We have got the evening, Hamish. We'll be watching South Africa versus Australia tomorrow. We certainly will be, as well as New Zealand versus Argentina. We'll be covering both of those games on the channel. We have got their box might make, or made a late change to the bench. They did. I did see that Boan Fenta came in for Jan-Hendrik Wessels, not for the reason that some people thought, though. It was just down to the injury of Jan-Hendrik Wessels. I know people were expecting Rassie to make a couple more switches off that bench, maybe going to a 6-2, but not the case in this one. We have got their, hey mate, today's game going to be high scoring or low? Any guess? No guess whatsoever. It's hard to tell with the Sharks, like we showed. Their last 2 games, they conceded 64 points and then they conceded 7. So there's not a lot of consistency at the moment for the Sharks team. And until they start to find a bit of a rhythm, it's very hard to know how many points will be scored throughout their matches. We have got their, this is weird, I'm saving my tins of lager for tomorrow. It's Friday afternoon here in South Africa, says Robert. Yeah, it's actually like a normal kind of work hour for this Friday night fixture or Friday afternoon fixture of the Carling Currie Cup. Of course, 2 games tomorrow will overlap with each other. We sadly aren't covering either of those 2, but of course the big internationals we will be doing on the channel. Hi, Hamish and all, says Shants. Welcome in again. And we have good there where you'll be doing the commentary for the UFC this weekend. I wanted to initially, but now I don't think I'm going to be able to. Unfortunately, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to watch it because we will be doing the all-nighter with the Rugby Championship, and then in the kind of mid-afternoon, early evening, we are going out for my granddad's birthday. So I think I better do that rather than the UFC commentary. We have got the Ohio Amateur Rugby people going for the Sharks to have a good first half, or I'm going to bed, says Studs Rays and Afternoon Hamish from a chilly, cloudy Cape Town. And I love your red and maroon hoodie, and the GRIQUAS definitely, says Roof. And I'm a Bull supporter, but the Sharks really need to click soon for the good of South Africa rugby, says Robert. Yeah, looking through at this lineup, it is so different to what we would normally see for the Sharks. And, you know, they are called the Hollywood Sharks XV for this Carling Currie Cup, which I feel is actually a perfect name for them at the moment because they aren't looking like the normal Sharks. They are looking more like a developmental side. I mean, half of these guys are from the under-20s. But when they get going, hopefully it will be close. Like, I'm hoping for a mid kind of 20s each side rather than the 64-0 or a 7-5 that they had in their last game. But making quite a few changes. One big thing, though, is having Plakane back in that loose forward trio alongside Matt Ramal. I feel like that could be a great combo for these young guys. But yeah, I have decided I'm going to have to slightly tidy myself up for the live stream tomorrow of the Rugby Championship. So if the Sharks can somehow pull off the upset here, just like we did for that second match between the Springboks and Italy, in fact, it might have been that first game, I will go to just the mustache for the Rugby Championship. I would much rather just go kind of half by shaving almost down, like a bit of stubble, which is what I'm going to do if the Sharks lose. But if they somehow win, we'll go with a big, filthy mustache like last time for a little while. On the channel, your prediction, Hamish, 40 points to 25. Honestly, that probably isn't going to be a mile away. I think that the Sharks, to be honest, would even be happy just getting 25 points, even if they were to concede the 40 in the process, just to feel like they're on the right track. You know, it's been a low-scoring kind of competition for the Sharks team, and they need to start finding some good momentum as JP Peterson, coach of the URC Sharks. I think so. Was he the one who popped up before? I can't actually go back. Oh, no, I can. Hang on 1 second. I'll get you the exact name of the coach, hopefully. It is, JP Peterson, who was in charge of this team. We have got happy birthday to your granddad, says Shants there. Yeah, the big 85. So we are going to be going out for a late or early dinner type of setup with a few of the family. Sharks making their way out onto the field, ready to go, though, for this game, away from home, like I said. So it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. What TV channel are you watching on? I am watching on Sky Sport 3 here in New Zealand, but it is also going to be on DSTV or Supersport 201, 211, I believe, are the 2 main ones that it would normally be on. The GRIQUAS running out onto the field. This will be a good match. I hope so. The last thing that we want to see is another one-sided affair. I feel like we've had a few too many of those in the Carling Currie Cup as of late. It just seems like we're destined for another close game. Because at the end of the day, that Sharks versus Cheetahs game, as rough as it was at times, and both sides would have been quite disappointed with the way that they played, but they at least were close. So it kept us almost intrigued till the final whistle. When you got a game that's about 30 points in favour of one side by around that 50-minute mark, it just seems predictable. It's the same coach for the Sharks in the Currie Cup and the URC. Sorry, my question wasn't clear before. Says Studs Rays. I think in the Currie Cup, they've got Plumtree as the main coach, who is in charge of them. So JP Peterson, I think he's an assistant during the URC, though. But yeah, very different looking group of players compared to what they do have for that URC season. The likes of the Hendrickson brothers, I have no idea where they are. Jaden and Jordan, I know that they are supposed to be, or at least I thought, playing for the Sharks, but I guess because they're in Springbok contention, they aren't playing and they're kind of on standby at this point in time. Wish your granddad happy birthday, Super 85. Well, lovely, says Ruth. But George Whitehead will be the man to kick this one off for the GRIQUAS. We are once again going to be doing that scoreboard by ourselves, so bear with us if it does seem slow at times. It is just because I haven't done it quick enough. But Whitehead kicking off from right to left for this matchup. First of the weekend, the next two games we are doing are both big international fixtures, but the Carling Currie Cup can bring its own excitement to a weekend of rugby. Already seen a big comeback as well on the Bunnings NBC side, down by 22, went on to win the thing. So, means that nothing's impossible. So, Plumtree survived last season and Jake White didn't. Yeah, I think Plumtree did get another season under his belt. Or at least I haven't heard that he's been like, not put down, but sacked from that role. But yeah, it is intriguing, isn't it? Because, Jake White, it seems to be more and more that the outside of the game stuff was what kind of warranted him being let go. Oh, not back by the Griquas, who already have retained their own kickoff and now going for the attack. But yeah, I think it's the outside of the games. Because at the end of the day, results aren't too bad for Jake White when you look at what the Bulls were able to do throughout the last few URC season. But that one, it's going to be a knock-on from the Griquas and an early scrum chance here for the Sharks now. Alois Rezemet just signed for Bristol. He did. They've got some big players going to Bristol, I do see. Tom Christie, he's heading over to England as well for, I think it's Newcastle. So there's going to be some very handy talent in that premiership for next season. I've gone to watch the Waimetti Arcade been restored yet? Says Kiwi Gamer. Not yet. They're still working on it pretty much every single day. I'm not sure what they're trying to do with it at the moment, but it keeps changing just a little bit. Now, Everson was about to feed that ball in, but it is going to be a free kick here for the Sharks. Looks like the Griquas not too happy about that call, but just going a tad early there for Yanko Ice. And next week is the start of the Women's Rugby World Cup. It is. And I have no idea what to do about it. Because originally I wanted to cover quite a bit of the Women's World Cup on the channel, but then I think I slightly hadn't worked out when the schedule of the Rugby Championship was also taking place. So it sounds bad, but I would like to do at least one Women's Rugby World Cup game a week. But originally I would have liked to do, probably 60-70% of the contest, but some of them just unfortunately do overlap, including the final of the whole competition. It actually overlaps with the men's Rugby Championship fixture between South Africa and Argentina, so that slightly is annoying from the get-go, but rolling ball here for the Griquas, managing to get that possession back now, going away to the left-hand side, finds Erlunk with a good aggressive carry and some nice aggression in the breakdown there coming from the Sharks number 13, Diego Apollos. Now backline, Lamine goes over the top, Whitehead finds Marked, who's got plenty of toe and plenty of strength to go with it. We have got there, Hamish, you might ignore this message, says Dinks there. Trying to work out who that football player is. It's a very small message, or a very small picture, I should say. We have got there, I'm happy to invite you to Islam, says Dens there. But now, Ice, going to have this ball 30 metres out from the line. George Whitehead going back across to the right-hand side. Now, Matt Ramal, he had a fantastic game last week up against the Cheetahs. Probably deserved at least a try or something big. Most Black Ferns games seem to be all Monday morning, which is annoying. Yeah, see, it's probably a good thing for me them being on Monday morning, but it's not a good thing for those people who actually have to work on a Monday. I feel like the replays are going to be watched quite a bit for a lot of New Zealanders. And to be fair, I probably will have to work on Mondays too, but just I get a little bit of a later start. And then afternoon, Hamish, hope the Sharks can get a win, but probably not going to happen. I like the Griquas, but for the log to benefit Cheetahs, I need them to lose, says Albert. And no score yet, finding their rhythm. And morning, mate, says Void. And there, yeah, neither of these sides able to get any sort of points on the board as of yet, which does bode well for the Sharks and the mustache forfeit. But for how long is the big question. Okay, referee has just said if you're going to keep speaking like that on the field, you do it on the side. So obviously some words were exchanged from a few of the Griquas forwards, and the Sharks with Vusi Moyo got the penalty inside of there. 22, nice red hoodie, bro. It's good to see you back. I'm bored without you. Says Void. It's been a few days. I think it's been about 5 or so since our last live stream, although a few videos throughout the week as well. But yeah, we've got the 2 big matches of the Rugby Championship still to come a bit later on. My sleep schedule, I am already almost breaking it completely for this weekend. I managed 2 hours of sleep before this. Then I'm going to be staying up till around lunchtime today and then sleeping throughout pretty much the whole day to wake up to do the Rugby Championship and then sleeping during the day briefly and then going out for dinner tomorrow night. So, yeah, I'm already on the Northern Hemisphere kind of schedule, which is good because a lot of the competitions do favour, at this point in time, the time zone of the North. But George Whitehead going off to the right-hand side. Little kick attempted in behind, but it will roll into touch. I should try streaming on Tuesday. What would we stream on a Tuesday, though, Void? Because I know that, you know, we could do like a general rugby catch-up type of thing. But yeah, I haven't really worked out what I would talk about on those midweek ones. In fact, I had half an idea, but now I can't remember. I thought about it last week, and I had a cool name for it, but now I can't remember it. It may be because it's 1 a.m. Premier League, says Void. Yeah, see, I don't follow enough of the Premier League, I don't think, to be able to cover it too well. And please, Griquas win UFC 319. Can't handle Hamzat's attitude. Yeah, that press conference was an interesting one, wasn't it? And I do have to say, Griquas handled getting booed extremely well. But I'm also surprised at how much the crowd were chanting for Hamzat. Mainly because of that guy's kind of past and whatnot. So it seems like Griquas is going in as the almost hated hero. But I kind of hope he does the job too, to be honest. Just because, you know, or if he doesn't do the job in this one, at least if they get a rematch, he does it in that and manages to win the title back. I do think the title does look pretty good on Griquas, and, you know, just for the entertainment value, I feel like he does bring a lot for that middleweight division. No chance Sharks can win. Shark supporter so far in the Currie Cup, very disappointing. Says Ronnie, yeah, there's been some big struggles at the moment. We have got Fortnite in the chat as well. Has said hi, welcome in. If you are doing extremely well. Currently on the halfway line, the Griquas in possession again. George Whitehead goes to Glamini. And good morning, Mr. Hamish. How you do? Says Doc. Doing well. Full of energy at this point in time and excited for the upcoming weekend. Oh, nice little pop pass there. George Whitehead goes through a gap here. He's got a man on the inside and the outside, but he's going to go with the man to the left-hand side. And the Griquas now sitting 15 metres out from the line. Skip pass. Awkward bouncing one, and the Sharks managing to get the steal as it pretty much went straight to them in that scenario. Can any team stop England from winning the Women's Rugby World Cup? They are looking strong at the moment, England, to be fair. Like, I think that whoever does definitely would deserve that Rugby World Cup because it's not going to be easy whatsoever. Late change to the box. Did you see, Hamish? I did indeed. To see that Jan Hendrik Vessels is out and Moan Fenta making his way off the bench. It's not the late change that a lot of people thought that Russie was going to make, but still won't make a huge difference, I don't think, to the tactics or the plan that they have got. Now, the Griquas running it forward again. It will be Zwellendaba. And we have got there, glad someone else likes your red hoodie, Hamish. Hectic schedule for the weekend, says Ruth. And I love a roast pork rolls with gravy, Hamish. Would you prefer bacon and eggs? Or egg and bacon pies, Kiwi lads? Wait, so would you prefer bacon and eggs pie rather than a roast pork roll, I assume that is? So I don't mind a bacon and egg pie. All ball stolen here by the Sharks and flying down the wing, but slammed into touch there for Everson. It's going to be cut off by George Whitehead, but that was a decent counter-attack there from the Sharks side, who are far from out of this game. Like I said, they were $10, in fact, $11 underdogs heading into this matchup. They weren't expected to get anywhere near in this game. Griquas looked very subdued before his match. I think he's a bit nervous. Taking on an 8-foot giant, says Roof. I also do think in that press conference, though, that Griquas knew that no matter what he said, it would probably go over Hamzat Chimaev's head. Plus, with the crowd, like, he was never going to fully be able to win that press conference. So I think the way that he handled it actually did mean that he did the slightly better out of the two. The fact that he was just like pretty much making fun of the crowd for giving up on booing so quickly. Now George Whitehead in the pocket. Getting down the middle of the field. Taking at the back here for Christy Robillard. Playing in the 14 jersey for this game. Gives it off to Jaco Williams. Now across to the other wing. Finding Ikeji. George is going to be back tomorrow, says Void. He sadly is not, because of the hour of the games that are taking place. We won't have a George. Plus, we're not doing any Bunnings NPC this week, but hopefully that will change at some stage in the future. But now off to the left-hand side. Oh, ball almost ripped away from Calvert. Everson. Cross to the right-hand side again. Yako Williams tries to find the gap. Also tried to find the offload, but he does knock it on in the process. We have their Women's Rugby World Cup should be censored because of you know what I mean. I don't know what you mean, if I'm honest. There's this lady who buys the name Auntie Yulia, who hides an eel in her purse. Does live in your town. Whose auntie is she, and why does she have an eel? I would think if she has an eel, that eel's probably dead. At a guess, unless she's also got water in her handbag, in which case you'd see her coming because she'd just be leaking. It sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? But, yeah, I haven't heard of the eel lady, per se. We have the back in Griquas, says Doctor there. And also George White, looks like Portuguese person, says Void there. And what time is the AB's game? They will be playing at 9:10 a.m. New Zealand time or 11:10 p.m. for the ones in South Africa. So a bit of a late night one. Now, nice steal there for Everson. Managed to get the ball off the Griquas. Oh, and they take it straight back. A little bit of a lack of security in that breakdown. For breakfast, I would like crumbled eggs. What are crumbled eggs in the comparison to scrambled eggs? Is it when they're a little bit more done and then they're broken up or something? Toasted cheese and some sausages and British peas, says Void. And England outside backs have defence issues and been exposed by opposition kicking. But they're so good on attack. New Zealand and Canada have the players. France would have to play out of their skin, says Studs Race. Ball kicked in a touch by the GRIQUAS. Currently 11 minutes through this fixture. It's still 0-0, ladies and gents. And ham and cheese toasted with the egg omelette. Hamish, you should get an award of Rugby Streamer of the Year, says Void. I don't know whether or not they do have. Oh, to be fair, I think last year on 2 Cents Gets Distracted, I might have got that award from Tony and Mark. Where can we watch live? Supersport, Sky Sport, and Stan Sport are your 3 big options, but sadly all paid subscription services, which I think is rough, as I believe the Currie Cup should be free to air. Now Yanko Ice goes to the left-hand side. And running out of space here near the sideline. Big aggression shown by Matt Ramal. Christy Robela, he tried to get the turnover in the breakdown, unable to do so. Now cutting back across. Already we see another ripped away ball, and that is going to be Klakane, who managed to get the steal. Adidas and Puma is better than Nike, says Void there. And scrambled on Ming, says Void. Now off to the left-hand side, Potita. Going to the left. Now, on the outside, not a lot of room to work with for Ikeji. How are you feeling about the Rugby Championship, Hamish? I can't wait. I'll be honest, the nerves I don't think have hit me yet. Because I think because of this game, as well as the fact that I still actually have another sleep until the Rugby Championship fixtures, it's normally when you wake up on the day that it does kind of hit you. But I'm just excited to see what happens at this point in time and see how the 2 underdogs go in round number 1. I get concussion just looking at that dry hard field, says Albert. And also getting an award from Tony, must be mixed emotion. JK, he's alive, says Suds Race. Yeah, sadly, I never did get sent that award. I think it was just they had it. So I have to go up to Auckland at some stage and try and sneak it, perhaps. We have good day. I'm in the mood for Snook Bry tonight, says Hazel. And also we have got their scrambled eggs, parsley, cheese, crispy bacon, and a toasted French loaf. I will mention this time, I don't think I was the one who brought up food. Ladies and well, actually, I said I was going out for dinner. Maybe that set it off. But, yeah, a lot of breakfast foods are getting thrown around at the moment while it is 1 a.m. here in New Zealand. We have got there, come on, the GRIQUAS time to bang through soon, says Roof. And, yeah, at the moment, we are 15 minutes in, and it is still sitting 0-0. In fact, this looks like the first opportunity to score points for the Sharks with Vusi Moyo, who's going to go for the kick for 3. Now, he is the man who should have been kicking last week, and I have no idea why they didn't let Vusi Moyo kick. Yeah, I've got there. What's up, Hamish? Big weekend. Get sleep at some point. I am hoping to try and get some sleep. I think I'm going to be sleeping during the day today, though, so that I'm on a decent sleep schedule for the Rugby Championship. It's Bok Friday today in South Africa, so the fever already hit us here for tomorrow. So here's Albert. That kick has gone over, making the score now 3-0 in favour of the Sharks. I'm starting to think maybe they weren't as big of an underdog as anticipated, and I might need a mustache for tomorrow. And come on, the Sharks, let's go. Says Studs Race, thanks for covering this match. Hamish says Lily B, no worries at all. It felt weird if I didn't do this game, seeing as it would mean only the Currie Cup on Monday. So I thought I'm going to be up at this random hour of the night anyway. Might as well do some commentating too. But George Whitehead going to kick this one off. Anyone who is just tuning in now, I decided that if the Sharks win, seeing as their points differential is minus 116 and they have had one of their worst starts ever to a Currie Cup competition, I'll go back to the mustache for the Rugby Championship streams. Mox win by 89 points to 14. That would be crazy if that was the scoreline. Like even 49-14 or even 39-14 to a certain extent. Now that one's going to be a penalty going the way of the Griquas. Are you doing any NPC this weekend? I wanted to, but then I also... The trickiest part was going to be the sleeping schedule, because I do want to pretty much go to sleep at around 11 or 12 today and then wake up at, let's say, 8 or 9 p.m. so that I can do the all-nighter, then a quick sleep, and then go out for dinner tomorrow night. So, or in fact, the night after it would actually be. It'd be on Sunday night. So originally my plan was going to be to do one of those NPC games in the weekend, maybe the 4:35 p.m. one between, I think it was Taranaki and Auckland, I think was the match that I was potentially looking at. Bigger attack and run now from Lamini. But yeah, now my sleep schedule plans have changed a little bit, and it's kind of it's butchered the chance of being able to do that one. Also, I'll be sleeping on Sunday afternoon, so then that means I can't do Wellington versus... Who are they playing on Sunday? There was someone for that 2:05 kickoff. One of the Rugby Championship matches is in London, South Africa, Argentina. Says William there. And also DDB or Hamza. Says Marie. I think that I'd like to see DDP win. But at the same time, I don't think it can be underestimated how dangerous Hamza Chimaev can be. But I do think if Griquas gets through round number 1 and, scrambles well, I can see him winning it. It's Box Saturday tomorrow, says Bokang, and also Targo for who Wellington will be playing. Now, currently 17 minutes into this fixture, we've got another scrum going the way of the Sharks. 40 metres out from their line now. They can get themselves a try, although that's a massive push there from the Griquas, and they will win themselves the penalty against the scrum feed. You're a hard man doing those hours. Good luck to you, says Studs Rose. Yeah, I'm not sure how well it's going to go. It's very easy to write it on paper and say, right, this is the plan. But the reality of it might be a little bit rough. Like, I do think the hardest part will be after this live stream, I'll have about probably 9 hours of being awake when I really feel like I should be sleeping, seeing as I was up all of kind of today. But if I can power through that stage, we should be full of energy tomorrow night. Did a fan ever swear at you? I could name probably at least 100 that have sworn at me before. I've been sworn at in more languages than most people would experience in their life. But, I've learned a lot of swear words, that's for sure. I know where they are now. Not the people, but the swear words in terms of I can see them in the chat. Going off to the left-hand side now, 10 metres out from the line for the Griquas. Oh, Lunk getting the 5 out. The Sharks going for the steal and the breakdown, but there is going to be the penalty. Quick tap taken by the Griquas. And again, they weren't quite back the 10, and this is going to be a yellow card for the Sharks that will certainly hurt them heading forward in this match. Hamish is hardworking, guys. He should get Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday rest, so he is streaming all day. He doesn't get sleep for at least 7 hours. Struggles to sleep enough on the weekend, says Void. And it's actually going to be the captain, Nick Haddon. Does get sent off the field now, 18 minutes in, and that is just such a poor mistake in this scenario. because, sometimes it is worth just letting them score. I know that that's weird to say, but if you're going to get pinged for not being back the 10 metres of a quick tap when they're literally 1 metre out from the line, the only benefit they've got is it wasn't given as a penalty try. After this rugby championship, I'll be every 2 years because of the new tournament, Nations Championship. Says William, what do you think about Indian food and as a country? Says Rajan, I do quite like a bit of Indian cuisine, although I'm pretty fussy, so I'm literally only a butter chicken kind of guy. And maybe, to be fair, chicken pakora is not too bad either. But other than that, I don't have a huge amount of other stuff other than a naan. Now pick and go round the side of the breakdown for Lamini. Drag down just short of the try line, but the Griquas in the perfect position to be able to score themselves a try with 9 minutes remaining of that yellow card as well. It's going to be tough for the Sharks side, who are defending well at the moment. Tackle made by Hochlenberg. Now another low tackle on Ulank. About 1 metre out for Yanko Ace. Short ball coming from Abrahams. At the moment, Sharks are not budging. Big shot from Klakane, but that will be another penalty advantage against the Sharks side. Always a bad time for a sin bin. Maybe the worst time. And they are now over for the Griquas. And that is where that comment about maybe it's, it's not worth getting that yellow for what will probably turn into a try. Just make that a little bit more sense. But it's going to be Caleb Abrahams. Does end up scoring it. And always a bad time for a sin bin. And also Hamish cuts him down with a sharp wooden humour. We got that face palm from Lilia. I believe that would have been at the time where that yellow card did come in. As you come to Tunisia. It's my ethnic country. There is hospitality there. Says Void. Yeah, so I haven't been to anywhere outside of I'd say Oceania and the lower part of Asia. Seeing as I did go to Indonesia when I was a little bit younger. But other than that, it's only New Zealand and Australia. So one day I'd like to venture a little bit more further. But yeah, I don't know where I'll go. So it's that's the tricky part, I think. I get lost very easy too. I do often need to check my maps on my phone to make sure that I'm actually going the right way. Caleb Abrahams managing to get through the tackle of Klamani. And Hamish and George will be in Europe soon. Yeah, see, George, I don't think has ever been abroad either. He's only been to the North Island, hasn't even been to Australia. So one day I feel like it would be quite cool to do some sort of big trip with the other lads. I got to get you here, Hamish, says Bill. And also going to anywhere in Africa is like a 20-hour flight or so. I've seen that, yeah, and it's just, that would be a long time to sit still. I know I sit still on these live streams doing the commentary, but the thing is, if I really, really wanted to, I could get up and, I could walk around, go outside. I don't need to at this hour, but, I feel maybe on a big, long flight like that, you just get so restless, wouldn't you? But you'd eventually get used to it if you did it enough. Now, kick has gone dead from the Sharks. Looks like there's going to be the scrum now for the Griquas, sitting about 25 metres out from their line. A McW for the Griquas today for sure, says Anva. And talking about butter chicken, my local spa had some yesterday and today. Freshly made, delicious, creamy, buttery and spicy with basmati rice. A huge portion for 40 Rand, says Ruth. And Rekus will win, says Doc there. Yeah, see, if that wasn't taking place on the same time as when I'm hoping to get a little bit of sleep, I think I would have liked to cover that one on the channel. Although the problem is if you cover one UFC event, you kind of have to cover all of them, don't you? And my sleep schedule just sadly doesn't allow it. So the Griquas already tied the Cheetahs output last game. Griquas have to maintain the same level as versus Boland, says Jonathan. And mate, New Zealand is already 4 hours from Australia, even more when flying from Western Australia, says Gatson. Now, yeah, 4 hours though is, I would say 4 hours is nothing compared to a 16 hours or 14 and a half hour direct flight from Sydney to Cape Town. Suggest the countries for Hamish in Europe: France, Spain, Latvia, Germany, Georgia, Turkey, Finland, Ireland, UK, Netherlands, Slovenia, Denmark. See, I know that my sister did a European tiki tour a while ago, and she probably I think she covered about 40 different countries, so she may have been to most of those ones. Going off to the left-hand side now. Kicking it in behind Cameron Hufka. It's just curling towards the sideline, but they go back for the original advantage anyway. So GRIQUAS will get possession once more. Okay, there's an offside and a scrum penalty, so George Whitehead has the option of either of those two in this scenario. So they're going to go with the one closer to the sideline to then create a bit of a better line-out opportunity. It's going to be about 25 metres out from the line. I'm sure he loves her butter. I'll be back for more folk, says Doc. And also we have got there in Portugal, says Lilia. Yeah, see, I think she really enjoyed Iceland, I think, was one of the locations that she liked. Also Scotland she was a big fan of. And then there were a couple others. I think she liked Italy, maybe. I think she sent me a list of her top like 4 or 5 a wee while ago. But now it's going to be the line-out chance. We have good seen on YouTube that you lot have a Rome Coliseum, says Katsanel. Now thrown in by Yanko Ice. Taking on the halfway line. What's the ball? Sharks struggling again a little bit. Although they've been better in this first half than maybe some thought that they would be. Like, we're 25 minutes through. They've got a yellow card, though, which could play a bit of a factor in the next 3.5 minutes. But for now, it's not going too bad for the Sharks team. But they have to survive this next little period without conceding. The commentator, it's been a long time. We do the Springboks versus the Wallabies. We certainly will be, as well as the Pumas versus the All Blacks. Both of them going to be taking place on the channel. Will be scheduled later on today. Plus, we will be uploading the preview for both games a bit later on. For the South Africa-Argentina preview, it will be coming out in around 2-3 hours. All knock on there from the GRIQUAS. And we have there Lithuania. We went target shooting with AK-47 with gangsters and cops. They were all friends. Didn't want me to take photos. Studs race. I took a walk into Borland Stadium a couple of hours ago. Hard to think. They can sit about 11,500 people. I hope the GRIQUAS win. And if Hamish meets or wants to meet some people, I suggest Azerbaijan and Kazakhstan, says Void. Now 25.5. In fact, up to 26 minutes now through in this game. A lot of support for the GRIQUAS here, and good day, Hamish. Hope you're well. Says Anthony, doing very good. Hopefully you are too. I thought we were playing New Zealand. We were playing South Africa. Yeah, it's Argentina versus New Zealand and South Africa versus Australia. Wait, did you? Yeah, I assume you were thinking for Argentina. Yeah, they've got the All Blacks a little bit later on. We have good there. Hamish is going to visit many countries soon, including Dubai, says Void. I don't know whether or not the funds would allow for many countries to be visited. At this point, I don't even know if they allow for one. That is far away, but maybe one day. I feel like within the next couple of years, I'd like to go on a decent-ish size trip. But once again, I'm very indecisive, so I don't know where that would be. Are we over there, WGF? All these weird comments. It's lunchtime, drinking on a mock Friday, says Robert. And now Everson will be able to feed this ball in for the Sharks. 2.5 minutes remaining of the Nick Haddon yellow card. And they are now set and ready to go again. A big push from the GRIQUAS, making it difficult for that Sharks pack. But Vusi Moyo going off to the left. Apollos now kicked him on from Yako Williams. Just goes into touch again. GRIQUAS have to keep the pressure on with 1 minute 30 left in the sin bin, says Jonathan. Dubai is literally a hotel where you refresh to get to your destination, says Katsanel. Now 13 minutes left of this first half. MotoGP now on in Austria, part of the qualifying, says Bruce. Yanko Ice, 25 minutes through. Life is what happens. When you're making plans, stop planning and just go. You know, I need to plan though, or else I will get lost. Like, I literally will. I can get lost sometimes only about 30 minutes away. Yes, Dubai is highly overrated. Great airport though, says Tristan. George Whitehead taken around the halfway line here for the Sharks. Oh, here comes the run again from Akeji, who goes straight through, moving up to 22 metres out. Someone's got to tackle the big man, or they could be in some trouble. Passed on the outside, just out of the fingertip reach of Apollos. New Zealanders are humble. They can have friends in Europe as well, says Void. But yeah, just apologising there for his pass. Pascal Ekeji, who all but managed to set up a great individual effort for his team, breaking the line, getting through the mini tackle attempt, and come on the Griquas push over break the line. Says Ruth there, just out of the fingertips of Diego Apollos. I wonder if he had caught it, whether or not it would have been fought. It did look pretty flat, that pass. But 30 seconds remaining. Desperate tackle. We're impacted, or they're impacted the pass. Well done, that guy, says Studs Rays. And take a GPS with you. We'll guide you, baby. What's sitting in Argentina? Are the All Blacks playing tomorrow? I believe they're playing in Buenos Aires for that match. Hamish, if you want to explore snow and nature, I recommend Switzerland, says Void, but that is going to be another penalty at scrum time going the way of the Griquas. Oh, and Lameni just giving him a little bit of afters there for Eddie Davids, getting in his face. I think the referee might have just told him to settle down a little bit, seeing as he's supposed to be the captain in this scenario. I'm glad soccer is back, so I don't have to be forced to watch bad rugby, says Katzenell. That one's going to be kicked in a touch by George Whitehead, 29 minutes through, and I believe the Sharks will now be back to the full contingency of 15. We'll go like that, and there we go. Yeah, a little bit lower scoring than maybe some did anticipate. Some thought we were going to see the Griquas running away with this game, and to be fair, there is still time for that to happen. In fact, I'm going to get some butter chicken later from Spa for supper. It's only 3:32 p.m. Says Ruth there. But now ball is in the hands of the Griquas, back to George Whitehead. Gets it downfield, well handled at the back for the Sharks with Yucko Williams. Has got Christy Robillard with him. Just bulldozes over the top of one of the Griquas defenders, but it's claimed now. Another step attempted by Caleb Abrahams. He is the lone try scorer in this contest. Give me bad rugby over soccer any day, says Bill. And Hamish, you need to come lie on a Cape Town beach in summer, sizzle. And also Hamish actually calls soccer football, lol, says Lloyd. Now off to the left, it is Lameni now with the ball in hand. The Griquas have actually struggled at times to get meters. They're playing stadium in Cordoba, says Katzenell. Now that one's going to be kicked downfield. Nicely taken by Vusi Moyo at the back. Just go straight to the Griquas back three, though. Oh, that's a shank kick badly. And that ball's going to be bouncing into the in-goal area. Now, I believe, is that going to count as a scrum to the Griquas? Because of the deflection off one of the Sharks players there. I think it will be. Maybe a 22 dropout, or is it a goal line dropout here? We're about to find out. It's a Sharks 5-meter scrum here. Okay, it came off his own player, in fact. My apologies. I thought it hit one of the Sharks players. But yeah, coming off a Griquas player, which now gives them about 5 meters out from the line, a scrum opportunity. I'm excited to see the new All Blacks play tomorrow against my favourite Pumas too. Torn in two, says Ruth. And we have got there Cordoba. And off a Griquas player, wasn't it? It certainly was. So it does mean that it's a 5-meter scrum now for the Sharks. And very quirky and funny. Always have fun, says Ruth. And Hamish, any comments on the Stormers rebranding a new logo? I see people aren't happy about it. I wonder why they felt they had to change the logo, though. Because like the old one, I feel like it will take a long time for people to get used to this new logo now. But yeah, it's different. It's still kind of the same logo, just different in some ways. That's going to be a try now, ladies and gents. Going around the side of the breakdown, Sino Everson will score, and the Sharks now have got the lead. It's pretty massive for them at this stage of the contest. Definitely because Now, they had that 10-minute period where they were down a man, but this should be a nice, easy kick for Vusi Moyo as well. And most people who speak English say soccer, unless you're from England or New Zealand. Football to me is something. When I say soccer, everyone understands, unlike football, says cats. Now, see, in New Zealand, like probably, I'd say at least 70% of people call it soccer as well. I normally end up calling it football because when I don't, I get abused. So it's just easier to. With Sharks seriously playing $13, not quite $11 underdogs for this game, but still, like, that's a pretty hefty odd for this team. Yes, they've lost their 3 first games, but they're not a terrible side. You know, they've got some talent in there, and they now lead this game 10 points to 7 after 33 minutes. But if the Sharks win, we are going for the mustache look tomorrow on the Rugby Championship streams. If they lose, I'll be slightly tidied up, I'd say, for tomorrow. Oi, mate, says Doc. But Everson celebrating that one. It's a good day for a halfback in this matchup. We've actually seen both men get themselves a try at this point in time. Caleb Abrahams as well as Everson did just score that one. But the Griquas under a little bit of pressure. Kicked off long by George Whitehead. Going deep with it. Hatton trying to bump off the tackle of Dylan Mart, who we've actually only seen early on how much NPC tickets. Depends on the stadium that you go to. I think in Manawatu, if you wear a bucket on your head, you get in free. But outside of that, the likes of a Canterbury game, I can't imagine would be any more than $20-ish. When are Canterbury playing next in the Bunnings NPC? I'll have a look. They'll probably be one of the more expensive ones, I would think, for their season. Well, that one's going to go into touch, and the GRIQUAS now have got themselves the line out. And Sharks ahead. What's happened to the GRIQUAS? Fell asleep. Yeah, see, they haven't been going that badly, the GRIQUAS at this stage. But, yeah, it just hasn't really worked out at times. Right, they've got memberships. They've got Counties Rugby on a Saturday afternoon. I think that's the Farah Palmer Cup. Manawatu versus Canterbury. Fine tickets. I don't even know if they'll have them for sale as of yet. Oh, no, $13 for an adult to be able to go to that one, including a $3 fee, I assume, for booking it. So probably $10 tickets. Do you also think that penalty milking is unsportsmanlike? I believe so. Like, there's the one penalty that I absolutely despise is the one when the halfback purposely passes it into the guy who really they could avoid. But you know how they just throw it into them and then go, oh, ref, he was in my way of passing? Like, that's one penalty that I'm like, nah, can't really get behind that one. But yeah, like, it's one of those ones where there is that fine line between players going, yep, I need that penalty, and going over the top with it. We have got the nice Ruth. And also I've been called a traitor because I'm born and bred in South Africa, but I'm a Carter fan forever. So here's Ruth. And James Gibbs-Bark loves to do that. So here's Bill. There's quite a few halfbacks around the world that love to do it. Gibson-Bark is certainly not the only one, but yeah, he's won a few penalties for Leinster doing just that. That's going to be knocked on by the GRIQUAS. And they will go back for, I believe it will be the scrums of Willendaba. Not quite able to hang on to that position. He was smashed in a solid tackle by Nick Haddon, as well as would have been Cochlinberg. And Boo, the very sad peeps, Carter lives forever, says Doc. And props milk penalties at the scrums from a certain point of view. True. Like, if you've got your technique right in the scrums and you know roughly how the refs are going to kind of penalise in the scrums, you can get away with, I mean, we've seen guys who angle in. We saw that in the British and Irish Lions tour quite a bit. But, yeah, like, the thing is, scrums are one of those intricate parts where, depending on the referee, depends on who's actually getting penalties. And it can be completely different game to game. So I feel like the ones who can adapt the best are the ones who do the best in those scrums. Oh, mate, on Google searching Cape Town. Been a minute, says Doc Martin. Big run forward from Potgeta. Oh, ball is there for, I think it was actually the Lucy prop trying to play halfback, and he has shown why he is not a halfback. That was not his best pass, but a good kick in behind from the Sharks, 37 minutes through, and another chance on attack for the Griquas. Some brilliant quick stepping coming there from Gershon Ware, but he's knocked that one on the ground. Looks like the ref's going to say play on. That did look like that ball spilled out the side. We'll see what comes of it. George Whitehead, oh, that time it is a knock on. Round the halfway line, picked up by Bryce Calvert. Looks like he might be a bit injured at this point in time. Kicked him behind from Everson. He's got too much on it. And it's going to go dead. I think the advantage may just about have been over there too. He does apologise to his teammates there, as he did get that choice wrong. I think Nick Haddon has just asked the question of whether or not they still had that knock-on advantage. Yeah, okay. What are you doing there, man? I think is what I just read on the lips of Nick Haddon. And Vusi Moyo actually going over to defend his teammate Everson there, saying that maybe it was on. I loathe scrums. They slow down the game so much. Ever since I began watching the NRL, I can't stand them. Says Katzenell. Yeah, sometimes, you'll get a scrum that takes 2 minutes, which can be a little bit brutal, but, there aren't many scrums nowadays that you don't have a scrum reset at the least. But, oh, geez, yeah, Klakane just threw Gershon Ware around in that tackle. And maybe imagine if Whitehead was red here. I love scrums. My dad, brother, and I all played front row. Says studs raised there. And yeah, there's that technical side of a scrum that I do think at times gets underappreciated because of how stop-start they can feel, and also because of how much of a lottery they can end up being in terms of the reffing of them. But yeah, there are some pretty impressive props around the world, not just for what they do in the scrums, but also for how quickly they move, the size and stature of them. 2 minutes left in this first half here. And at the moment, it does seem likely, at least to a certain extent, that the Sharks may go into halftime with a lead in this match. A big push there now, coming from the Griquas. Off to the left-hand side, Abraham's quick hands. That looked forward, and it was. They will go back for it. It's going to be the scrum now for the Sharks. Just the mistake. Oh, in fact, no, we're going back for a random penalty in the scrum that wasn't going to initially be called. I wonder who called that one, whether that was the TMO or the touch judge. Okay, they're saying that maybe there was, someone was offside initially. So the penalty does go the way of the Griquas. 3 points try here, maybe. Yeah, although it looks like Whitehead's focused on that corner. Okay, so they are just saying there that when the scrum wasn't straight, then that's when we saw the players going up a little bit too soon for the Sharks. Will Whitelock become a coach, you reckon? I don't really know. I feel like he probably wouldn't do too badly as a coach, and I feel like in some sort of role, hopefully he'd have a position somewhere, but I don't know whether or not that's on his to-do list or whether he's happy enough being retired from rugby. I know that some guys, he's probably an exception, seeing as he was helping coach the Barbarians, but some of the guys, once their playing career is over, just don't like being in the environment anymore. They just want to say, yep, that's me done. I made a vid explaining some simple key things about scrums, and all the data said, oh, that one was close to the try line. Only people that watched were men from South Africa and England between 35 and 60 years old. So you got a certain audience in that regard. Now, sirens sounding here for halftime. The Griquas 2 meters out from the try line to go into halftime with the lead at the moment. The Sharks defending well, but they can't afford another yellow card like they had earlier on in the game from Hatton. Now another pick and go. Getting a bit closer once more. And we have got there, did you watch Pile Boys versus Pile Gym in the inter-school, says Anthony. Oh, it's held up. So the GRIQUAS, they will be disappointed with the end of that first half. They had, at times, some very good attacking chances. Probably all props. Says Studs Race, can the Sharks win? At the moment, they are leading, which is something that I don't think many people were anticipating for this matchup. They came in as $11 underdogs heading into this game, but they're currently right in it. Currently, even though they are 3 points up, they are still $4.60 underdogs in this match. So they are expected to go on and lose this game, even with that 3-point lead. I will be honest, the GRIQUAS have looked pretty solid at times, and they do seem like they're one big play away from being able to score. But it's probably not a bad position to be in here for the Sharks. They didn't score any points up against the Bulls, 64-0. Their last game, they only scored the 5 points. This game is starting to step maybe in the right direction. And it did seem like it was only going to be a matter of time as well until they were able to sort it out. Now, I'm not saying it's sorted as of yet. I do still think there's quite a bit to do to be able to get it right. But second half, I do think that if I was Sharks coach, I would be happy enough. If I was GRIQUAS coach, probably not hugely upset either. More than likely would just be said that, they had their advantage. They didn't really make the most of it, but they've still had some good moments outside of that. They've had some good scrum dominance in this game too. So yeah, I do think second half could be certainly one to watch out for in this matchup. But what we will do, ladies and gents, is we will go like this and like this as well. And there we go. These are the matches that are taking place next week. The Pumas, they will be taking on Boland. Sharks versus Western Province. We might end up doing that game on the channel. My sleep schedule will still be broken. Although Pacific Nations Cup is starting up next week too. So that might make things a little bit awkward, but hopefully we'll be able to do at least a couple of the Carling Currie Cup games. The Free State Cheetahs, they'll be taking on the Lions. And then the Bulls, they'll be going head-to-head with the GRIQUAS as well. Also, in terms of what is coming up, the international games of the Rugby Championship and the Pacific Nations Cup. This is the way that the Currie Cup table sits just at this point in time. So, sitting pretty decently. If you are the Pumas, sitting 2 wins, 1 loss. No one is perfect, though, in this competition as of yet, which is a little bit surprising, but also, I guess, is a testament to how this competition can be unpredictable and also pretty hard to judge what is going to happen before it has happened. And we've seen some really interesting scorelines throughout this comp already. We have got there, what is the strongest side so far? And who are defending champs? Pumas, believe it or not, the Sharks are the defending champions. Now, up until the last game for the Bulls, where they did get butchered by the Pumas, I would have said that the Bulls looked like the strongest side throughout this competition. But now, I mean, the Pumas is probably, they are an argument, but I also do think that the Bulls just had an off game. But honestly, they have looked very strong. I thought that the Lions, with the exception of course, their loss to Boland, have looked very strong too. So it's a tricky one. But for me, probably either the Bulls or the Pumas at the moment do look like the best sides. The problem that we've got, though, is normally when a side loses, they lose by a lot in this competition. And it's very easy to go, they lost by a large margin, they must not be in form. Hence the Bulls. But I do still think they've got a very strong team for the season and will be competitive and potentially in the finals. We have got there sitting by my phone waiting for Rassi to drop a bombshell after today's captain's run. He's cooking up something as he always does, says Robert. Yeah, see, a lot of people feel like he's going to make some changes, but he's in a tricky predicament now because the only way he's able to make changes is now, because we're into that 48-hour period, is if there's injuries. So, it's a weird one because to be able to change things if players aren't injured, they actually would have to fake injuries, in which case you're kind of getting on the verge of unsportsmanlike behaviour. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, and I'm not saying that it hasn't been done in the past for sides when it comes to little switches, but yeah. Like, they've made that change of Bohan Fenta already, and I do think that's the only change we're going to see. But I do also think that Rassi will love the fact that so many people think he's going to make changes, and perhaps, at the end of the day, the saying is he's in your head, and he's in a lot of people's head because they are waiting to see if he's going to do anything. GRIQUAS coach, going to go Nanas, says Ruth. Did you see the Wires game? The head injuries to the Dragons. I think it was 4 KOs. Jeez, that's brutal. I did hear that the Warriors won, though. In the end of that one, I haven't actually seen any of the score or anything like that, though. But, yeah, sounds like a hard-hitting affair in that regard. We've seen 2 tries in this Currie Cup game. Just the halfbacks as the players who have been able to score. Abrahams and Everson. And, well, there's one change, says Lilia. So, yeah, that is the change of Bohan Fenta coming in as the replacement Lucia prop. Handling errors 4 from the GRIQUAS. Just the one handling error from the Sharks. Penalties conceded 8 against the Sharks there, though, so that number is costing them, plus the fact that they're only making around 50% of their tackles. They haven't won a single line out, whereas the GRIQUAS are 10 from 10 and 5 from 5 when it comes to their scrum. They have made 16 tackles. The GRIQUAS missing 18, so actually missing more than 50% of their attempts, and the Sharks have not reached 5 phases in this game either. They have had 60% territory and possession for the home side, the GRIQUAS, and 5+ phases have been hit 4 times for the GRIQUAS in this game. So every statistic that I've just read says that the GRIQUAS should be leading, but the Sharks are ahead by 3. So who knows what we're in store for in the second half. But hopefully it will be an entertaining one no matter what happens. Plus, it's close enough at the moment that I do quite like it when it's a 1-score affair. Probably another 5 minutes or so before the second half does start up for this matchup. What we will quickly do is we'll go like this. We'll go like that as well. And like that. There we go. I was just seeing what time certain things are starting today. A lot of NPC games taking place for us here in New Zealand. We sadly won't be able to cover too many of them on the channel, but I am hoping to do some NPC somewhere in the future with a little bit of luck. Of course, the big event of the weekend, some would say, is the start of the Rugby Championship, but also, of course, there is that Drakas du Plessis versus Hamza Shemaev fight will be taking place as well. GRIQUAS look far more dangerous, have far better set piece, but knock on and poor passes tighten up, and they'll turn position into points. Says Studs Race, yeah, and I do think just one more penalty or 2 more against the Sharks will probably lead to a yellow card, and then that really does make things tough, as it seems as if the Sharks need to be building, and they need the second half, or need to win the second half for sure, says Doc. What do you think about the new Stormers logo? I don't mind it. I think it will take a little bit to get used to, and I do think that some people aren't too happy with the change. I'm not really sure why they changed it either, but it's not the worst logo we have seen, and it's not a huge difference compared to the original. It's just the fact that they didn't really do some sort of, what I would have liked to see, right, is if they had a poll somewhere and said, what logo would you like? But I can guarantee you the new logo wouldn't have won compared to the old one. So that's where it gets a little bit tricky. But let's bring Tom now on. You're playing number 23 in this game for the GRIQUAS. We're interested to see what kind of impact those players can have off of the bench. We have got there looks the Super Rugby logo. And I read that one from Manus as well there. But yeah, it'll be intriguing. I don't think any other sides are going to be changing their logo anytime soon that we know of. But I'd like to know the reasoning behind it, whether or not it's a new marketing thing for the Stormers, whether there's some sort of plan moving forward. But I think once people get used to it, it's not the worst logo in the world. You know, like there are much worse ones, which we will not list. Only 3 points. Watch the Griquas come out punching now and score. Says Ruth, yeah, the Griquas often do have a very busy second 40 minutes out there on the park, and I don't think this game will be any different. All right, we'll go like this. So the Griquas in their game up against the Pumas, they actually only scored 5 points in the second half. And their match up against Boland, everyone will remember how hectic of a game that was. They managed to score themselves, I believe it was 29 points in the second half. And then their game up against the Western Province, in the second half, they were able to score themselves the 26 points. Did you watch the T20 match, South Africa versus Australia, where Brewers played a brilliant 125? I have not seen it. No, I did see the first one, or at least some time of it. But with the Rugby Championship and everything, I've found myself not watching a huge amount of cricket as of yet. And maybe it's just because it's winter in New Zealand, so it feels a bit weird seeing cricket. But yeah, I think once the Rugby Championship is done, and when we get into that November internationals period, that's when normally the cricket bug starts to strike again. Definitely when I start playing in October. I think whatever team is the fittest will win this tight contest, says Tristan. So Montoya, Argentine hooker, explained in the interview that the less depth a team has, the less the professional they are. And the more difficult it becomes for teams to have big performance back-to-back. That's probably down to, the questions about whether or not they are going to be able to find that consistency. Because the thing is, right, I do agree to a certain extent, but at the same time, like this Argentine side have shown that they are strong enough to get wins. And it seems to be 1 week they could select the same lineup as the week prior and have a completely different result. And yes, that's when the fatigue maybe is starting to set in, but at the same time, I think by now, Argentina should have found that consistency just a bit. You know, because it's crazy to see, even last year in the Rugby Championship, you know, to win up against New Zealand and then lose by 32 points. And then up against the Aussies, having a loss in a close game and then winning by 40 with pretty much the same team. And Boomers, boom and bust. We don't lack depth, we lack consistency. So here's Katzenell there. And also Aussies looking beefy. I never underestimate a bouncing outback kangaroo. You know, kangaroos are pretty solid, I will give them that. But second half is underway. It will be the Sharks line out. They are yet to win a line out in this game, but now they've got themselves one. Everson. And off to the left-hand side finds Klikane with one of his first runs of this contest. It's going to be offside against the Griquas. That is against number 6, Carlels. And come on, the Sharks. I had to reboot his this device, so maybe you did mention in my absence. Are you commentating Bullant versus Bulls on Sunday? I am going to, or at least I'm hoping to anyway. The sleep schedule by that point should already be broken enough that I won't really feel like sleeping. So we should be good to go. Plus, the fact that it doesn't overlap with anything else is quite a nice bonus. Now, line out throw here for the Griquas, or in fact, no, sorry, for the Sharks again, and they actually made that change. Clavert has made his way off the field, and they've got Van der Hever out there on the park, who is now 2 from 2 in the line-out department. Now off to the left-hand side, Vusi Moyo goes to Putkaitsa, who does get it back to Klikane. Tackled low by Dlamini. Everson. Vusi Moyo, skip past now, stepping again was Yako Williams. That turns into a rolling maul, and the ball is ripped right away from Zulendaba. Although now the Sharks, they almost ended up on the ball. But the Griquas have it back inside of their 22. Come on, the Sharks, says Doc. Now, kicking this one into touch, it will be Cameron Hufka. About 25 metres out from the line. Again, the Sharks have got themselves the attacking position on the field. Great second half start for the Sharks side, and exactly what they needed. Having that 3-point lead is far from enough in this type of game. There's probably still, honestly, 25 points out there on the park between these two teams. It's just a case of who's going to get them. And let's get moving, boys. So here's Ruth there. Willem van der Heever. Ready to throw it in again for the Sharks. And this time it was going to be stolen by the Griquas, but taken back by the Sharks off the knock-on. Now Klikane starting to build some steam, but he's going to be held up. Really nicely done there from the Griquas. I believe it was the replacement 19 who had all the impact there. Derek Pretorius making Klikane look small. And the scrum for the Griquas. Long and high passing, says Doc. And remember to hit the like button to say thanks for Hamish's great commentary, folks. Says Russell. And of course, we are going to be back for the Rugby Championship coming just around the corner on the channel. But 36 minutes left. And yeah, really nicely done by Derek Pretorius. He just locked himself underneath the armpits of Klikane. And as soon as he was in that position, it was always going to be tricky to be able to get to the ground. And got to respect the Griquas defense there, are kind of covering up their mistakes, keeping the Sharks from capitalising. Yeah, see, they've had a few handling errors, but like you said, they've mitigated the damage from those mistakes. Oh, gone down in the front rows. No advantage for either side tomorrow. Boxed by 40 plus. Argentina by 2. Says Persista. Well, that would be quite the scoreline for the South Africans. But who knows? Like, the thing is, it can happen. But at the same time, I feel like we'll see it be a little bit closer. And the Aussies, like, I went South Africa by 10. I felt like that was a decent-ish scoreline for that match. We have got there, what is the most used strategy to win this year? Bomb squad, offload and support. Of just kicking all day. Says Katzenel. I mean, there have been plenty of strategies used throughout the season, depending on what side you are looking at. Now, big run from Klikane. Some sides do opt to use those forwards. That's going to be an advantage. I think that was for a no-arms tackle. Now, Everson breaking the line there for the Sharks. Finds the pop pass up to Potgater. And now offload. Cannot quite get it into the hands of Fusimoyo. And well, Sharks, I'm shocked. Says Shantz, although the game far from over yet, they've still got time. Counter-attack now coming from the Griquas. Little grubber in behind. Ball was rolling on and is picked up by the Griquas again. Another missed tackle from the Sharks, but a missed pass from the Griquas, and advantage was over. It's back and forth. Now this game breaking down around the halfway line, but Everson back in control. And low-scoring Sharks. Says Roof there. Now, Kocklenberg. In fact, that time it was Slabert that hit it up. Everson rolling it back. Oh, a lot of pressure there on Everson. And it's going to be the penalty going his way due to Carlisle's playing the 9. Your capacity for self-delusion is astonishing, says Katzenel. But now, kicked to the touch. Fusimoyo. He's got 100% of his kicks over just at this point in time. And box 55 to the 40. And tomorrow morning will be hectic, mate. They say they're backs, the Wallabies. We'll see, mate. Box 4, says Doc. Yeah, although I don't think I've seen many people saying that the Australians are actually back at this point in time. It's hard to say they're back when they did lose that Lions tour, of course, by a very thin margin, but I do still think there's a lot that has to go right for Australia for them to be fully back to where they were. George Whitehead, it's going to be a knock-on there. So it is going to be a Griquas scrum, is it? I think it is Griquas scrum. The knock-on. Or was it? No. A little knock-on there from the Sharks. Didn't look that bad, though, to be fair. It did just get slapped out of his hands. It will be a Griquas scrum, 47 minutes through now. This clock is going very quick for the second half. Aussie might just snatch it by 5 points, says Ruth. Yeah, see, it's a tricky one because Australia could come into that game absolutely firing. Or they could come into that game and just not look great. Has a team in the championship ever lost by 40-plus points? Says Katzenel. I think Argentina beat Australia by 40-plus last year, didn't they? Or at least it was very close to it. in emphatic fashion, in fact. One moment. We'll fact check that one. But now, little chip of mine from the GRIQUAS. Again, it's gone through the legs of the Sharks fullback, but dragged down 5 metres short of the line, rolling there on the ground too for the GRIQUAS, and the Sharks survive and win themselves a penalty, but that was almost a diabolical mistake from the 15. It rolled through his legs when he tried to claim it. Like they've said, not happy there. Yeah, Argentina beat Australia 67 points to 27 last year. Australia was always going to win that dead grubber. And those conditions, says Albert. Australia was always going to win. The third match, I assume you're talking about. New Zealand by 12. And GRIQUAS line out is legit. Their scrum's pretty solid too. But William Daba just couldn't quite link up with someone else, and then rolling there. And oh no, says Ruth. And there as well. Now line out here. Sharks are living dangerously, says Katzenell. Strong Wallabies is important for Rugby World Cup 2027, but I think they still have a way to go, says Russell. Yeah, there's still a lot that needs to be done for Australia to be successful. Like, there will be that transition as well when some of those older players do leave. The likes of a James Slipper, I do feel like they're still trying to find a way of replacing him. At the end of the day, 146 caps under the belt and still going. And have to wait and see. Third, Des Punter reckons they found some forms. Now, this is the Rugby Championship competition, says Doc. Yeah, although, finding form at home compared to going to South Africa, like, that's going to be tough. Will you be in Australia for the World Cup? Probably not, no. I'll probably end up doing the commentaries on the channel, though. Instead, big shot coming in, nicely taken by the Sharks. Now looking for another offload. Now, still sitting around that halfway line, and the penalty to the GRIQUAS. This game is far from over. Big difference, punter, says Doc there. And bingo, says Doc. Now another chance to be able to kick this one towards the sideline. George Whitehead. Man, who will do it? Okay, I think the ref was just saying they were going in off the feet. But now this is where the Sharks will very much so be tested. We're already 51 minutes through. At this point, it feels like I'm updating the clock every minute or two, but I'm adding an extra 3 or 4 on. 51 in. Line out for Yanko Ice. He's scored in this Currie Cup season already. Now, good flat run from William Daba. They should give Slipper the boot. He's too big for his shoes, says Bruce. Yeah, although he's working his way towards that 150, so I do think they'll give him that. Oh, that's weird. Jumped into the tackle for the GRIQUAS player and knocking it on. He looks like he's injured himself in the process, but what a weird way to go into a challenge. I don't know if he did it on purpose, but yeah, he jumps into the challenge and ends up landing awkwardly after jumping in. I think, George Whitehead's just saying, is it a penalty for tackled in the air? And the ref said the players who tackled him couldn't do anything. Yeah, jumps in. And to be fair, the back body drop was actually pretty good from, I think that would have been, who was that? Did the back body drop for the Sharks? I think it might have been one of the players off the bench. But he actually helped rotate him enough so that he would land nicely rather than landing on his neck. We have got there, take a dive number 5, leagues are 11. And also we have got there, can the Sharks win? At the moment, they're not sitting too badly, but it is far from done at this point in time. The Sharks have made quite a few mistakes throughout this matchup, so I would say that nothing is guaranteed at this point in time, but they're looking better than they have in the past, but that doesn't mean that they can't throw this one away near the end. I just said there that the pass was not taken. He jumps his dock, he certainly did, but yeah, it was one of those ones that as a Sharks player, you have no option when a guy jumps into you like in terms of what you can actually do with him. So I think that guy who flipped him over a little bit more for the Sharks actually helped him not have a really brutal landing. An awesome call by the ref. Hope he's okay, because ground looks like it's made of granite. Says Thudsray. It doesn't look very soft underfoot, does it? It doesn't tear up too much, this pitch. Now Everson to feed the ball in again here for the Sharks. Mate, don't save the ball, save yourself. Says a roof there. We have got their W in the chat. Oh no, it's a little bit more than that. That's a unique name, isn't it? We have to give you that. One of the different ones than what we've seen in the chat. That one's come off right on the side of the foot of George Whitehead, and nicely taken under the high ball for Dylan Mart, who's fallen the wrong way, but the Sharks do get penalised. GRIQUAS trying to get right into the action. I think that the Sharks actually wanted to take that one quickly, even though it wasn't their penalty. And GRIQUAS are coming back soon. It does seem like it's only a matter of time. Every time the Sharks almost get to halfway, we see the GRIQUAS then build. So I don't think this one's going to be too different. It's going to be a lot of pressure, but great take under the eyeball from Dylan Mart. I mentioned about how we hadn't really seen too much of him. What time is the All Blacks Pumas kickoff New Zealand time? 9:10 a.m. New Zealand time for that kickoff. And then the South Africa Australia game is 3:10 a.m. kickoff for us here in New Zealand. A couple middle of the night games. It will be the same next week too. Oh, that's not going to be straight, or at least it didn't look very straight. The ref said play on, and the GRIQUAS are 1 metre out from the try line. I think that's going to be an advantage now for offside. Sharks did actually throw someone up to compete for that line out. So, yeah, that was an interesting one. And we'll go back for the penalty. Double blow of the whistle. Is this going to be a yellow card? Yes, it is. The Sharks getting sent to the bin. That one's going to be brutal for them. Definitely because, like I said, it did look like that line out was not the straightest. We have the Amish. I wanted to quickly ask, what's your favourite statistic? I mean, I don't mind a position stat. Position last 10 minutes, in fact, is quite fun. But kicked in a touch here, 5 metres out from the line. The GRIQUAS, can they score now? My grandpa say, you can always replace the ball, but never replace yourself. Says Doc, has Vusi been kicking for the Poles? He has been, yes. Sit in 2 from 2 at the moment. So cue your normal Marnie Libok hate comment in about 10 seconds or so, I would say. We have there, we said it, come on, oh, they've gone off the back, and they have scored it. The referee didn't actually spot him break it off the side. The GRIQUAS will take the lead now. The Sharks, they will be frustrated with that one there. One moment, we'll go like this. It is actually Derek Pretorius. He did score the try, the number 19, his second try in the Carling Currie Cup. We have there, it's time now. We said, come on, says Ruth. But yeah, that yellow card, I think, is going to be a big problem for the Sharks side. It was coming, says Gatson. Now it was. It's just slightly unfortunate, the build-up towards it. But Whitehead. And thanks so much for your time for me. We'll see you another time, Night All, says Studsray. So we will see you later on. 1 from 1 for George Whitehead. With his next kick, goes away to the left and keeps the score sitting just the 12 points to 10. The 2 points separating these two sides. Just showing that breaking run from Derek again. Just seemed to find such a huge gap that even the referees weren't too sure whereabouts he ended up going. And no, says Shantz there, and we said it time to pull away, boys. Pretorius lovely. Some more deep breaths being taken by both of these sides. I will mention Matt Ramal was the man who did get himself sin-binned. But now the Sharks have to try and do it with 14. Slap back onto their side, and they are now in the possession. Everson has a bit of a juggle of the ball. Passes to Vusi Moyo. Tackle well. Oh, an advantage and a penalty, in fact. Not rolling away, going against the try scorer, Derek Pretorius. And now Vusi Moyo from 45 out. It's an opportunity to kick this one towards the post. It would use up some time off the clock. They're pointing at the sticks. See if Moyo can make it 3 from 3. Still another 7.5 minutes remaining of that yellow card. But Vusi Moyo had some very impressive kicks throughout that under-20 rugby championship, including one from about 57 metres out from the post. So the man certainly has got the distance. Like they've just said, it's all about the game management here. It's only 2 points, says Ruth. Exactly right. And with a try here, would get the lead. We have got there, you humanoids are nothing but a bunch of ham and eggers, says Alf. Are those eggs and ham green by any chance, Dr. Seuss? Now Vusi Moyo, getting ready to line this one up. He's got the distance and he's missed it away to the left-hand side. So the score will remain with the 2 points separating them, even a drop goal. Says Katzenel, great kick downfield from the Griquas, but even greater take from Vusi Moyo, now around the halfway line. Trying to steal it in the breakdown was Walendaba, now his opposite number has run forward. 40 metres out from the line. Griquas, their discipline needs to be on point, and again they give away a penalty for the side entry, this time against Langya. And we have there Doc Martin, Percy Montgomery, beautiful kick also for Ri, says Ruth. And even a drop goal, says Katzenel. Right, this time they have decided to turn down the 3 points. And this time going for the corner, a bit more aggressive. And windy out there. Trees are waving in the back. Yeah, about 27 kilometres of wind to factor in for this game. So, of course, making it a little bit more difficult for the kickers. On out throw now for Willem van der Haven. Or van der Hever, I should say. Just outside of the 22 as the sun is starting to shine in the players' eyes. Oh, that's nicely taken. They will say that he jumped into it, so there will be no penalty. But Everson, now off to the right-hand side, finds Klikane, who they've handled very nicely throughout this game. Another penalty going against the Griquas. Just saw you were live. Didn't know the rugby was on today, says Patrick. So, yep, just our one game for today. And then, of course, those 2 matches of the Rugby Championship around the corner. Tackler not rolling away. And I think this is now the last warning here for the Griquas. Okay, official warning from the referee saying too many penalties in a row. But the Sharks, 5.5 minutes left of their yellow card, still gradually building up the field. And De Villiers and Fori, best centres in my opinion. And when waving more than the supporters, says Ruth. Yeah, I think there'll be a few nervous supporters at the moment. At the end of the day, 22 minutes left. It's a relatively long time. And we're seeing plenty of mistakes from both teams, which pretty much means someone could make that crucial error, another penalty advantage. I think this is going to be a yellow card now up against the Griquas. Everson pops the ball in behind, well handled by the Sharks who score it between the posts. Is the ref also going to give a yellow card? He's walking off to the side, but it is the try for the Sharks nonetheless. And it will be Diego Apollos who does end up scoring it. Be a nice, easy kick for Vusi Moyo. But now, you just wonder whether or not is the ref going to give that one more warning, perhaps. We have got there 2 things that scare me about rugby fans. As they're allowed to vote and reproduce, says Alf. Well, pretty much everyone is, aren't they? We have got the LOH. Are you going to cover Drakus fight tomorrow? I did want to, but I will be unfortunately busy in the later afternoon, which is when he is going to be fighting. And Rugby Championship and English Football Premier League should be a good weekend, says Patrick. And we have got there, let's go the Sharks, says Lilia B. And come on the Griquas, time to get it, says Ruth. And there as well. But the score now sitting 17 points to 10. Yeah, well handled by Diego Apollos. What happened? It was, in the end, just the repeated pressure coming from the Sharks side, who have got themselves the handy 5-point lead, rather than the 7, with it sitting 17 points to 12. Now ready to kick this one off the Griquas. Both sides playing with 14. 4 minutes remaining of the Sharks yellow card. 9.5 minutes remaining of the Griquas. Nicely taken. Just outside of the 22 for would have been Kochlenberg. Now rolling this ball back again. And great match yesterday. Southland was losing 22-0 half and then won 29 points to 22 over Manawatu. Yeah, saw that massive comeback for them. Nice take there under the high ball from the Griquas going off to the right-hand side. Dylan Mart, lot of pace. And just in the corner, he manages to score. Oh, is he going down with a fake injury here or did he get connected with? I mean, he is holding his head after the shot from Hakim Hunini. And good old ding ding ring of my bell, says Roof. And yes, the Sharks says Shants. But that is now the Griquas answering straight back. Yeah, took a knock on the head there, Dylan Mart. But that is an instant answer back from this Griquas team who now have a kicking opportunity to take the lead here. This game definitely far from over the way that it sits. We have got their win if you can, but remember the best way not to lose is to cheat, says Elf. Well, the saying used to be if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I feel like that probably resonates with yourself, Elf, pretty heavily. We have got there while things are heating up. Says Cats now, they should give more yellow cards. And then we can have a game of 7, says Bruce. Hey, what, we need a few more to get to that point. Whitehead gets it over, and now the Griquas will lead with the 19 minutes to go. It is 19 points to the 17. Dylan Mart just showing his pace down the wing, does score it. I want to see the replay of what actually happens here. Oh, no, they're not going to show it. But I think it was just the extra connection from Kunini, who was trying to cover, defend, came across, tried to jump over him. That didn't look like a huge amount of connection. Maybe a boot if he was lucky. And Sharks need to win this today. Not bad so far for a young side. And that is kicked out on the full from Vusi Moyo. In fact, no, it's the replacement for him, John Smith, who got that one wrong. And Alexander also making his way onto the field. That is going to be for Abrahams, the try scorer of the Griquas. The younger halfbacks have been impressing me much more, says Zach. Yeah, Everson's been pretty handy in this game for the Sharks. Yes, he's made a couple errors along the way, but I do still think that the future at the moment is quite bright. I mean, you look at someone like a Hasim Pete as well. Those under-20s guys did look the part. And the fact that Pete got to train with the box as well, I feel like that was a massive opportunity. I'm sure he'll be happy about. And Griquas, yes sir, I'll take it, says Ruth. Now ball's going to be fed in. Oh, that one's going to go down. We have there, you don't have to be perfect, just be better than everybody else. Or everybody else. So I feel like the spelling's the perfect example of not having to be perfect, but it's a good mindset. You know, although being better than everyone else would have to be pretty difficult to do. But 16 seconds remaining of that Sharks yellow card here. And then the Sharks, they will be back to the full 15. And strong Griquas scrummage, says Ruth. These scrums could be interesting. Couple replacement front rowers have made their way on. Ball's going to be fed in by Bobby Alexander. It was a heavy shove from the Griquas, but the Sharks held strong now. Whitehead trying to break through. Off to the left-hand side. And go the Griquas go, says Julian. Oh, low tackle and a great steal attempt there for the Sharks. They'll get another one. This time with Willem van der Hever. And strong Griquas scrummage. Yeah, I do think that is somewhere that the Sharks will be very wary of for this last 15 minutes. And speaking of 15, they're now back to the 15 for the final 15 of this game. Still another 5 minutes left of the Griquas yellow card. That was for Prinsloo. Oh, in fact, no, sorry, that was for Derek Pretorius, the try scorer, and 3 other changes looking like they are taking place for the Sharks as well. We are going to get to see Kutsia Leroux. Some people are not good at spelling, says Bruce there. I see what you did there too. Can't you be the best at not being the best at anything? I would say so. And to be fair, that would be quite the accomplishment because there are probably quite a few people who are trying to get that role. Thrown in over the top, taken by the Griquas. Massive mistake from the Sharks line out, although getting in there and giving away the penalty advantage. Now, Whitehead, a try here could change the game for the Griquas. Tackle was called, so they do release him. Carlhouse, 25 metres out from the line. Bobby Alexander again. On to the left. Scout pass from Mart. Gets it out to Kirshen Weir with a good step. Heavy going. Not much open space to run through, says Ruth. Oh, and that's going to be playing the 9 again. Advantage against the Sharks. They might find themselves going straight back to the bin if they're not careful. Now off to the right-hand side. Oh, drop ball. Let's go back for the penalty. Now this is an intriguing one here for the Griquas because a 3-pointer puts you outside of the 5-point window. But, well, in fact, it puts you to 5. But you've also got, if they score now, they get the bonus point. So I think they'll go for the corner here. You might as well. You're in a scenario where you're still down a man. You're missing one of your locks, so that might play a little bit of a factor. But nah, they're kicking for the corner. Side entry in the breakdown, slowing down the ball is the call there from the referee. But this will put the Griquas just the 5 metres out from the try line. In fact, no further than that. Whitehead went a bit more safe, sitting maybe about 12 metres from the line now. It's 13 minutes left on the clock at this point in time. The 2-point lead, a converted try, I would almost argue wins this game for the Griquas. They're going to look for that rolling maul. Langya gets it in straight. They've been told to use it, I believe. They've also got themselves the penalty advantage here, though, for the Griquas, or at least that is what the scoreboard says. Off to the right-hand side again. Big shot on Marco Davitt. I apologise for my English. Sounds awful today, says Ruth. There's going to be an advantage now for offside against the Griquas in the middle of the field. Langya has the ball ripped off him, but it sits up for the Griquas again. It's going to take a monumental defensive effort from a side that's only tackling at 50%. Another advantage. Someone's going to the bin here in the very near future, and perhaps for the rest of the game, depending on how many more phases we see here from the Griquas. Now, once again, it will be Bobby Alexander going on the left-hand side. Finds the run of Tom now. Alexander back across the Whitehead, big driving tackle, drop ball, double blow of the whistle, and referee, he's calling the captain over. Is this just going to be a warning? Okay, this is the final warning there for the Sharks by the sounds of it. George Whitehead is again going to be kicking this one for the corner. I have the knowledge of the world. That's like having a brain times infinity, says Elf there. There you go. But now 90 seconds remaining of the Derek Pretorius yellow card. This one's going to be about 10 metres out. The Griquas, they aren't sitting too bad on the table. They did lose their first game up against the Pumas. Then their next 2 games, they scored multiple points. And close to the 100 across their last 2 matches. We have got Hi Hamish from Vic and Vern. I assume you guys are live at the moment, so hopefully you are both doing very well, unless it's only one of you who is live currently. I haven't actually checked as of yet, but yeah, hopefully you are keeping well and you're excited for the Premier League. I know that it's coming back, Liverpool versus Bournemouth a bit later on, which I think you were doing. Now going to be thrown in nicely, taken by the Griquas, going off to the right-hand short side to Zwelendaba. Now close, held up is he. This is going to be a very big one to check. It looks like the Griquas are held up, yes. And Vic is live, says, well, in that case, is this Vern maybe? Or is this Vic on live stream messaging? Because if that is the case, you're doing very well with the multitasking, I'll give you that. As Sharks win today, it's going to be tough. They're making hard work of it, but they're only down by 2 points with 11 minutes remaining. No good having cards in your pocket. I'm not going to use them. Yes, it's Vern, says Vern there. But yeah, hopefully you are excited for that Premier League start. I assume you are still doing it. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, we'll have to do something in the near future, of course, based around that Rugby Championship. Have a great day, you two. Off to the left-hand side now for the GRIQUAS. Absolutely fantastic commentary doing all along. Where'd that go? With a good match, thank you. Says Doc, no worries at all. And yes, says Vic. So yeah, I might even have to try and tune in. I will be up at 7 a.m. New Zealand time. I honestly haven't watched a huge amount of the Premier League in the last couple of years, but maybe this season with it being the opening round, it's a good time to start. GRIQUAS. Now in possession yet again, George Whitehead. Gets it off to Prinsloo. Alexander. Another tackle. Tom now round the halfway line. Sharks just not quite able to get that crucial steal that they are after. Alexander off to the left-hand side. Oh, that one was close to being forward. Little kick him on from Gershon. Weir. Awkward bouncing ball. And wow, one of the GRIQUAS players just flattened his teammate. It was Dylan Mart. Now another pick and go, but the Sharks get in the breakdown and win themselves another penalty. Their defence inside of the 22 has been what's really saved them throughout this match, particularly the way that they've been able to steal that ball. If the Sharks win, that shows that Aussie can win too. Hey, Hamish says, cool story. Although the Sharks coming in as much bigger underdogs for this game than the Australians are heading into their match up against the South Africans. But yeah, huge collision between two of the GRIQUAS players. Dylan Mart just running over his teammate. Oh, it's been a while. Well, the Sharks can score tries now, so happy. Hope all is well. Says Jean there. It's great to have you here. Of course, the Box going to be in action tomorrow up against the Australians. We're covering that one as well as New Zealand versus Argentina. But at the moment, the Sharks, they're just trying to survive. They've got 2 tries here. And Vic and Moon Sports Chat. G'day, mate. Hope your operation went well, mate. Says a Doc and Satalis Hamish, who's your money on for tomorrow's game? Bok and Australia, says Godfrey. Well, I have got a preview of that match coming out in probably around an hour's time where I do give a prediction. But I said the Box by 10. I'll save you watching the whole thing. Although if you do want to watch it, of course, be sure to do so. And which team are Vic and Vern favouring here? Says Bruce. Be a tricky one. I feel like they're probably of the mindset like a lot of other people in regards of the GRIQUAS. This seems like their game to lose currently. You know, they've been in control for most of the second half. The Sharks started it very well, but after that it's kind of disappeared a little bit. It just feels like a matter of time till we see the GRIQUAS break through. But for the Sharks, if they can somehow get out of their own half, which they haven't been able to do for the last about 20 minutes, you know, they're still close enough in this game that they can still theoretically win it. It's just not easy from here. 8 minutes remaining on the clock. Time is ticking very quickly for these sides. Like they are just saying, trying to get that decision-making right here. Saying about playing into that vicious win too. I think the Sharks winning today will be the biggest win of the year. Says, cool story. I would say Pumas beating the Bulls at Loftus last week by 30 probably tops it, but it's certainly the biggest win for the Sharks. I would say probably throughout their whole season just to try and get one under the belt. But yeah, those upsets last week were insane. For the Carling Currie Cup, same with Bullunt managing to beat the Lions. We have good there, I think, the Sharks. Oh, no, I read that one. And good luck, Vic. Says Ruth. And there as well. It looks like some running repairs on the nose of one of the GRIQUAS players. They are ready to go. Oh, man, I can't even remember that. Thanks, Hamish. Says, cool story. My ball's going to be fed in by Bobby Alexander. So the scrum feed for the GRIQUAS, who have had the strongest scrum throughout this match. Whether or not it stays that way for this final 7 minutes, we will soon find out. It is a big push and an advantage now for the GRIQUAS again. The Sharks, they seem to not be able to get anything really going. Ball on the inside to Dylan Mart, who will be driven backwards, and a good solid tackle Oh, the ref's going to reach to the pocket here. Okay, so John Smith was up early. I thought he was going to yellow card one of the props, which I felt was a really bad time to do it. But John Smith, he will make his way from the field, and that is for the last remaining time on the clock. Come on, the Sharks, says Doc. See, there's been so many times in this game where the Sharks have shot themselves in the foot. Their ill-discipline, something that has heavily hurt them. And now again, the Griquas are going to kick for the corner. And how long can the Sharks side survive? So I hope Griquas can stay in the lead, says Bruce. We have got the people call me the Weasel. But it's just jealousy because they can't outsmart me, says Alf. That kid is dressed in South African merchandise from top to bottom there. He's got the shorts on with the box on it, the jumper as well. Of course, we'll be very much excited for that match tomorrow. Now, rolling maul here for the Griquas, moving nicely. He's broken off the back, and the Sharks managing to shut it down, tying the ball up, and that should be their scrum, but the ref lets it play for a bit longer. And now, I believe the Sharks have got themselves the turnover. Yes, they do 1 metre out from their own line. Missed the whole game. Did the Sharks massively improve, or are the Griquas hung over? I'd say a little bit of both. The Sharks side have done a lot better. Oh, this is dangerous though. Kicking it downfield. Dylan Mart now running forward. Thought about offloading. Gets back up to his feet. And now gives the offload away to Robinson. Now off to the right-hand side, skip pass, and a step on the inside. The Griquas will score. One of the Sharks players did a big dive, as if to say he was taken off the ball. But that might just about do it here. 24 points to 17. If this kick goes over the game is done. And maybe you want a hamper in that card. That changed everything now, and Sharks have been on the back foot the whole second half. Yeah, with the exception of the first 3 minutes. Oh no, okay. No, it wasn't quite a dive there from Koneni. It was actually that he got his feet tripped up by his own teammate. Dylan Mart, they certainly haven't found a way of shutting him down throughout this game. Got back up, win again. George Whitehead now. Chance to add the extras. Deep breath from him as this kick is crucial for this game. It also takes the Sharks away from a bonus point, and that is what he's been able to do. It also gives the Griquas that bonus point due to the 4 tries being scored. And agreed, Amish Sharks are lacking discipline. Sharks are imploding. I'm impressed, says Katzenell. We have got there that turnover before the try line, says Doggy. Absolutely massive for them. I thought they were going to get the scrum, to be honest, before that point. Referee said play on for that little bit longer. But now kicked off by Kuneni. For the Sharks, they need to find either a try now or a penalty. That does go over in quick succession. They have now got the ball, though. The furthest up the field they have been in a long time. Kunini tackled 35 metres out from the Griquas line, but straight away another turnover coming for this Griquas team. It's Tom Nell who manages to win it. A nice kick, says Doc. Now just that 4 minutes remaining. Whitehead, they can control this game now, the Griquas. They have got everything from this game that they need. They are going for a shot at the post. How far out is this one? Is this where I think it is? Is this not 70 metres out? Or maybe not quite 70, but this is a huge kick here. 65 metres from the line. Are they at altitude for this game? Cameron Hofka will be the man in charge of this kick. 65 metres out. The breeze is behind him, but is that going to be enough to let Hofka get it over? He might do a hammy here if he's not too careful. Dang, so helpful for the second. And it's kicked, and it's coming round, but it won't go. Almost had the distance, to be fair, but just misses away to the right as well. Kuneni now trying to get the back line going for the Sharks. It's called as a forward pass. They'll go back for another scrum to the Griquas, which will only go from bad to worse here if you are the Sharks side. Yes, says William Moses. But now 25 metres out altitude, 4,000 odd feet, says Russell. Yeah, maybe just a bit optimistic to try and kick that one over Cameron Hofka from as far out as it was. But then at the end of the day, it also used up an extra minute on the clock. And like I said, like in this point in time, the Griquas, they don't really mind too much if this uses up, a minute or two. Just getting through the scrum as well as that kick. Looks like a bit of an injury here for one of the Griquas players. Looks like a sore shoulder, altitude up and away. Says Ruth in there too. Yeah, they're going to stick that ice pack on the shoulder. Bit of a stinger. Looks like the referee is just trying to hurry him along with just the 2.5 minutes remaining in this match. I would say that for the Sharks, if bare minimum they can get 3 points at some point, a penalty from this one, that's something. They've probably played well enough to deserve 1 point at least. But at the same time, they've also been a bit rough around the edges. A lot of penalties conceded. We have got there Hamish has a positive altitude. Says cool story. And Kimberley is about 1 kilometre above sea level. Says Gareth. So what's that in comparison to the likes of Ellis Park and Johannesburg? How high above sea level would that be, Gareth? Now scrum about to take place for the Griquas. Ronnie said useless Sharks. Yeah, they were in it. And then unfortunately the second half happened and they just let it slip. Big push that time from their scrum. Referee says we'll have a reset. Going to use up more time off of the clock now though. And Sharks gave it a better go today. They've at least tried. And time wasting invented by former Wallaby Eddie Jones. Said Doc. Well, we've seen a few people use it since then. In terms of that prop going down on a knee. Joe Berg about 6,000. Says Russell. Okay, so it's a little bit higher up. Or quite a bit, in fact, higher up. In that regard. Now, ball going in again. Just a 1 minute left on the clock now. And I know Sharks, says Hazel. Now, wheeling around. They've been told to use it and too much movement again. Another scrum reset. It's going to be the third reset of the same scrum and it has already used up about 1.5 minutes off of the clock. So it's doing exactly what the Griquas would want it to. And that has taken a whole heap of time out of this game. Referee having a conversation to the props. That's another 10 seconds gone. Still talking to them. That's a 30-second timer. And Griquas will win, says Hooligan. Oh, goody. Have to check some gifts in. Only to come back to see the Griquas improving their lead, says Bruce. Now, should be the last scrum of the day. 25 seconds remaining. The Sharks will not get back to the full 15. They've had 3 yellow cards throughout this match, so you'd have to argue in some regards they haven't deserved to win this game. Now George Whitehead, little chip attempted in behind. It's taken by Apollos. Now the Sharks will get the last chance in this match. Oh, well, you win some, you lose some. At least it's not 0. Says Chance, and there is still time for the Sharks to try and get that one big try or one big moment that could secure them a bonus point, but they'll have to go 90 metres. Fend attempted there by Yako Williams. Gets up to 25 metres out. And Griquas are too strong, says Ruth. And also the Griquas will win, says Hooligan. Now popping the ball back. Apollos has scored in this game already, but he's lined up by another try scorer, Derek Pretorius. Off to the left again. They're just shoveling it back at this point. The Sharks not making a huge amount of metres. That's the first run from Christy Robillard that I can even think of throughout this game. This was an improvement, though, by the Sharks. Remember that when you scream into your pillow. See his cool story. Now 30. Out from the line. Little pop pass up. Breaking through the line. It is going to be Putgater. Now just not quite able to link up with any teammates. That's a very good clean out coming. Ball knocked back. Sharks managing to claim it on the ground. Now popping it up to Kunini. Huge hit on him by Tian Langya. Oh, Fundaheva, another advantage out wide. Chance there for Yako Williams, who's cutting back in on the angle. They move 22 metres out. They'll go back for the original penalty now for the Sharks. If this is... The thing is, it's going to be an easy enough kick, I would think, for Vusimoyo if he was out there. But he's not. John Smith is. But he's not because he's got a yellow card. Yet another loss. Poor performance from the Sharks, says Unbiased. And he is on his way here. Should be delighted to see the GRIQUAS win. And Sharks' young baby team, big guys at the box, says Ricks. Although I do wonder where the Hendrickson brothers are, because they aren't really directly involved with the Springboks at the moment, yet they're not playing for the Sharks in the Currie Cup. So is it the case of they're just taking a spell before the United Rugby Championship? That was a mistake there off the kick of the Sharks towards the sideline, only just getting there. That was a huge hit from Tian Langya initially on Kunini. No arm wrap there. That's why he ended up getting penalised. But 22 metres from the line, the Sharks have not given up here. They know that this is their chance to get the bonus point for Ben within 7, training with the URC team. Says Lilia B. That one's going to be stolen now by the GRIQUAS. And it looks like they're going to continue trying to run this one, or at least just for this phase. But I believe the good move would be to put it into touch. Whitehead tried to do so, kicks it dead. And that will now be the end of the game. Little bit of push and shove after the whistle too. Both sides being told to leave it, but 26-17 the end score in this contest. So overall, an eventful game. That first half a lot closer than the second, where it was predominantly the GRIQUAS were really controlling the matchup as well. Thanks GRIQUAS for beating my second most hated team after the Wannabes, says Bruce there. But nonetheless, we will of course have those live streams for the Rugby Championship tomorrow on the channel. We've got an hour and 10 minute build up for that match between South Africa and Australia, and the same can be said about Argentina versus New Zealand. Also, the previews of those matches will be coming out, one in an hour and 13 minutes and the other coming out in around 6 hours. So be sure to check those out as well. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you all for the next one.